In this second short video, I like to talk about psychoanalytic approach to organization development. The psychoanalytic approach, which started by Sigmund Freud and subsequently by Alfred Adler and Carl Jung, is based on the various stages of development of a human being. Freud talks of 5 stages of development as the child progresses through. First, the focus is on oral stage, where a lot of satisfaction is derived from the mouth, using the mouth. The second stage is the anal stage, which deals with the toilet training, where the child also derives pleasure out of bowel movements and so on. The third stage is the phallic stage, where the child begins to assert. Fourth is a latent stage, and the last fifth one is the genital or the mature stage, where the child develops sexual identity and is able to differentiate good from bad. Freud also talked of 3 forms of libidinal energy. The id, which is a primitive form of the libidinal energy, and where I think as a child or as adults, all of us, I think will be wanting to achieve, wanting to get whatever things we want without caring for the reality. Particularly this is true with the child. The id is that part of the libidinal energy where it does not differentiate the what is right, what is not right. Like the child wants to have everything and picks up everything with hands and puts it into his or her mouth. So instant gratification, which is associated with selfishness. I don't care what happens, I want what I want, and start demanding on the environment. Now, there are organizations which probably behave in the same way as a child with a high id or high libidinal energy, self-centered energy behaves. Those organizations which don't care about what happens to the rest of the world and want to achieve only their targets, want to only sell their products without caring for the societal good and so on, and without even having a reality understanding. I think these are the organizations which can be called as a primitive form of organizations. The second principle of libidinal energy, I think Freud talks of, is energy where the child develops a reality sense, which he calls as the ego. Id, ego and superego are the 3 stages, 3 states. Ego state is where an individual becomes more realistic because he or she knows what is right, what is not right, and so on, as the parents start training the person. There are therefore organizations who have value systems, who start developing these systems. I think they are matured to differentiate what is realistic and what is not realistic. Then Freud talks of superego as parents start inculcating ideals in the mind of the child. The child starts looking at what is desirable, not only what is available, what can't be available, what is desirable. A parallel to organizations is organizations, I think, start working for what is desirable, not only for themselves but for the society. This is what we call as superordinate goals. So the parallel to id, ego, superego for organizations is id-driven organizations are very selfish, only concerned about their own goals. Ego, or what Freud called as the reality principle-driven organizations, are realistic, calculative, and careful, and show concern for themselves, and they understand that they cannot achieve their goals unless they also take care of the environmental goals. Whereas the super ego driven organizations are those who work for larger goals, like what Peters and Waterman called as superordinate goals in their 7S framework of McKinsey. Style, structure, system, strategies, and I think superordinate goals is one of the things that differentiated excellent organizations from the less excellent organizations. So taking Freudian psychoanalysis principles, it is possible to view an organization as id-driven organization, or reality principle driven organization, or a superordinate larger social goal driven kind of an organization, and so on. So it is possible to therefore understand the stage at which one is and give some kind of a feedback to the organization. Now, of course, how do you assess an organization, how do you give feedback and things like that? I think this requires a lot of investigation. I'm only using this opportunity to give a thought for those of you who are interested in organization development. There is a psychoanalytic view of organizations you can take. Adler, of course, talked of a lot more about inferiority superiority complex. I think he uh, separated out of the original psychoanalytic school of thought of Freud, and then he particularly is known for his focus on inferiority superiority feelings. Now, this also can be applied to organizations. Those organizations which are driven by always insecurity and wanting to therefore dominate, or wanting to, or feeling that look, I am not worthy to be anything, I am only an ordinary kind of one, or indicating one type of personality as contrasted with superiority feelings driven kind of organization. This is another framework that can be used to understand the organizations. So I will not go into the details of Carl Jung's theory, but I will in one of my lectures later, short lectures like this later, I will talk of how we can view using the MBTI framework, which is based on Jungian own psychology, to understand organizations and so on. So I hope this little thought that it is possible to apply Freudian psychoanalytic approach to our understanding of organizations is quite exciting to you. So you may like to revisit Freudian theories and then see you can develop a lot more in terms of enhancing our